You close your eyes tonight not because you are tired in the usual way, but because something inside you is walking and has been walking for a very long time without arriving anywhere. Listen, the city is still making its small mechanical lullabies beyond the window. Distant brakes sighing, a refrigerator clicking once then twice, like someone clearing their throat, the low electric hum that modern rooms never quite let die. Yet none of that is what keeps you awake. What keeps you awake is the absence of a sound you have never consciously missed until this moment. The soft, particular rhythm your own footsteps once made on a path that knew you. You shift under the blanket and try to remember the last time your feet walked the same stretch of earth more than twice in a single month. You cannot. The thought itself feels like pressing on a bruise you did not know was there. In this life, most of your miles are new miles. You move through corridors of glass and steel, through terminals, down aisles that are redesigned every season, across crosswalks that reset their countdowns the instant your heel leaves the curb. Each place touches you only once, or at most a handful of times, then lets you go without comment. The ground does not keep score. It does not keep memory. It is polite in the way blank hotel stationery is polite. Clean, ready for the next guest, indifferent to who wrote on it yesterday. And so a strange hunger begins to live in the soles of your feet. Not for distance, not for adventure, for repetition. For the absurd luxury of walking the same curve of trail so many hundreds of times that the earth eventually stops asking who you are and simply accepts that you belong to this particular slope of hillside, this sequence of stones, this patch of root-tangled dirt that smells faintly of iron and pine when the rain has just passed. You lie there in the dark and feel the modern restlessness curl tighter, the suspicion that no matter how many new cities you see, no matter how many fresh landscapes scroll past the train window, none of them will ever learn your name. Not really. They will remain courteous strangers. And you, because you keep moving, will remain weightless to them. Weightless. That is the word that arrives now, uninvited, and refuses to leave. You have become light in the wrong way. Not enlightened. Not graceful. Simply unrecorded. Your body passes through places the way light passes through glass. Bright for a moment, then gone, leaving no shadow behind. And something ancient inside the oldest marrow of you does not like this arrangement. Something still remembers when being heavy mattered, when the repeated pressure of a human life left measurable change in the world. A hollow here, a polished stone there, a faint trail where grass learned to lie down differently. You turn onto your side. The mattress sighs, new foam, memoryless foam. You think, when did I last leave a path changed? The question is so quiet, it almost escapes notice. Yet, once it is asked, it will not be unsaid. So let us walk backward together now. Not far, just far enough that the light grows different. Imagine, not a fantasy, but a memory that does not belong only to you. A morning in which you wake inside a life where the same 700 paces separate your sleeping place from water. Every day. Winter, summer. The path does not care about your mood, it waits. You step onto it, half awake, half dreaming, barefoot, or in whatever rough leather your people tanned last autumn. The ground is cool at first, then warming as the sun finds the open places between trees. Your weight settles into the earth in exactly the same rhythm each time. Heel, roll, push. Heel, roll, push. The path has no name. It needs none. It is the line your people have drawn between thirst and not thirst for longer than anyone can count backward. Because you walk it every dawn and every dusk, the dirt has begun to answer you. So small hollows form beneath the favorite stepping places of the old ones. A route that once tripped you now lies flatter because you and your sisters and your mother's mother stepped on it in the same way for 30 years. Pebbles migrate sideways, nudged aside by 10,000 repetitions of the same small insistence. Nothing dramatic, no monuments, just the slow conversation between a body and a place that happens only when the body returns. You did not choose this path because it was beautiful. Though sometimes, when mist rose off the river and light struck the wet alder leaves, it was. You walked it because it was necessary. And because it was necessary every day, the path was allowed to become intimate with you. It learned the precise cadence of your limp after you turned your ankle-gathering reeds 2 summers ago. See, it learned the heavier tread of your father when grief lived in his shoulders for a season. It learned the quicker, uneven steps of children who had not yet learned patience. The ground beneath you was not scenery. It was witness. And witnesses remember. Not in language, in shape, in density, in the way certain patches resist your footfall now because they have been compressed longer and harder than the rest. The earth kept a kind of braille of your living, a raised script only feet could read. Each time you returned, you read yourself back into existence. You were heavy in the best and most honest sense of the word. Heavy with days. Heavy with winters survived. Heavy with small promises kept. Heavy with the knowledge that tomorrow morning the same cold hollows would be waiting under your heels again, ready to recognize you. That recognition was not sentimental. It was structural. It held you in place the way roots hold soil during rain. Without it, the world feels, dangerously wide and frictionless. Now come closer still. Feel how contradictory the ache is, because that same path was also cruel. The mud in spring could swallow a sandal whole. The ice in winter turned every step into a negotiation with falling. Thorns waited in the places the goats had not yet eaten. Snakes slept under stones that had grown warm by noon. Hunger walked beside you every month the river stayed low. Cold lived inside your bones for weeks without apology. Children died anyway. Lovers left anyway. The path carried you toward water, and it carried you toward grief, and it never once apologized for doing both. No one mistook repetition for paradise. And yet the very hardness of that life is part of what made the ground remember you so faithfully. Because you had no choice but to return, the place had no choice but to know you. There was no escape into novelty, no swiping to a different landscape when the first one grew difficult. Difficulty itself became part of the pact. You and the path were bound together by the simple brutality of having nowhere else to go. Modern nostalgia lies when it pretends the past was softer. It was not softer, it was narrower. And because it was narrower, the meaning had nowhere to hide. Meaning soaked into the dirt like blood, like sweat, like milk spilled from a clay cup that cracked the same year your first child learned to walk. So the longing you feel tonight is not truly for easier days. And it is for days in which your existence left measurable pressure behind. Days in which being here changed something here. That is what modern life has gently, relentlessly taken from you. The right to leave dents. Not dramatic dents, not heroic ones. Just the small stubborn dents that say, someone lived this life with their full weight. Someone came back tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after. Someone insisted on being counted. You breathe out slowly now. Let the breath carry the restlessness down through your legs, down through the mattress, down toward the floorboards that still do not know your name. There is no going back to that narrow life. You would not survive it. You were not built for it. The world has widened and you have widened with it. The price of width is forgetting. Not yours alone, the world's. The ground itself has been asked to forget so many names that it has learned amnesia as a courtesy. And still there is this quiet rebellion inside your feet. They remember how to want to be remembered. So let us not fight the longing tonight. Let us not try to reason it away. Let us simply follow it deeper, slower, until it becomes something else. Feel the mattress beneath you now. Feel how it cradles without gripping, how it gives without complaint, how it will forget your shape the moment you rise tomorrow. This is not failure. This is the present tense of being alive in a time when almost no place is allowed to keep you. And yet your body has not forgotten how to speak to places that do remember. So imagine, just for these next slow minutes, that there is still one path somewhere that has not yet been paved over. Not a famous one, not a postcard one, a small, unimportant one, a deer trail that became a human trail because humans followed deer to water for long enough that the grass gave up and the dirt gave in. Imagine you are allowed to walk it every day for a year. No destination more important than returning. No music, no podcast. Only the sound of your own footsteps answering themselves. At first, the path says nothing. It is polite, modern, indifferent, but you keep coming back, day after day. Same rhythm, same weight. After a month, the path begins to keep score again. Tiny hollows appear. A stone tips slightly sideways because you always step over it the same way. A patch of moss learns the shape of your shadow at 7:14 a.m. in October. Nothing dramatic, just recognition. And with recognition comes the strangest calm. But because once the ground knows you are not leaving forever, it stops bracing itself against your departure. It stops pretending it is only scenery. It lets you matter. You matter in the most unspectacular way possible. You are here often enough to be part of the grammar of this place. The grammar of gravity. The grammar of return. Now, let the image soften. Let the path blur at the edges. Let the sound of those footsteps grow quieter, quieter, until they are almost only memory. You do not need to walk that path in the flesh to feel what it would teach you. You only need to remember that your body still knows how to leave meaning behind when it is allowed to repeat itself. And tonight you are allowed to stop moving forward. Stop planning tomorrow's miles. Stop scrolling for the next new place. Lie here instead and let the mattress take your weight without argument. Let the floor take the mattress. Let the earth take the floor. Let the planet take the earth. Let the wide, indifferent dark take the planet. You are heavy again, not with importance, not with destiny. Simply heavy with being here, now, all the way down to the bones. No one is asking you to be permanent. No one is asking you to leave a monument, only to be completely present for these few remaining heartbeats. To let your weight rest fully on something that does not flinch. The restlessness begins to loosen its grip, not because it has been answered, but because it has been heard. Heard by the same part of you that still remembers what it felt like when the ground beneath your feet learned your cadence by heart. That part does not need to be fixed. It only needs to be allowed to breathe. So breathe. Longer on the out-breath. Let the exhale carry everything that wants to be carried away. The city noise, the bright rectangle that waits on the table, the list of places you have not yet seen. Let them drift. They will still be here when you wake. But right now, there is only this. The slow settling of your own weight. The faint warmth your body leaves on cotton. The way the dark does not ask you to explain yourself. You are no longer walking toward anything. You are no longer walking away from anything. You are simply here, all the way down. And for this moment, here is enough. The last footsteps fade, not into silence, into stillness. A stillness so complete it almost feels like the earth itself has exhaled and is waiting, patiently, for you to do the same. Good. Let go now. Let everything go. There is nothing left to carry, only the soft pressure of being, only the quiet certainty that tonight, at least, you are heavy enough to be felt. And that is all the meaning that was ever needed. The embers are very low now, a single pulse of orange. Then nothing brighter than memory. Sleep. The ground beneath you remembers how to hold you, even if only for tonight, even if only until morning. That is enough. That has always been enough.